What up, it's your girl Najee. Everybody hates K, but everything golden. And you're listening to T7M Radio with my man's Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah.
Week number 2 was just as impressive, man. So this is the best of 7 sports talk, T7M Radio. We about to do what we came to do. Callers, y'all call up 347-989-8102. Let's get into some NFL action, J.O. Let's do what we came to do. Last night in Minnesota, the Vikings opened up their new stadium with a victory over your Green Bay Packers. Sam Bradford made his debut at Minnesota. He had, I think he was 22 for 30 for 286 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. Adrian Peterson left off in the third quarter with a right knee injury. It looks like he suffered a torn meniscus. The timetable for his return is unclear, but he is expected to actually make the return sometime this year. But the Minnesota Vikings was able to pull off a victory against the Green Bay Packers 17-14.
You know, overhyping still lives. I do think my Green Bay Packers is, I hate to say it, I think our team is overrated. And our skills position is really not making plays. You know, our tight ends, our receivers, our DBs. It's like the team is lacking speed on the perimeter. And we always been a bad tackling team. It's been a while since we had a hard-nosed middle linebacker that's just a run stuffer. So,
right.
as shown last night, it's an uphill battle for us for the remainder of the season.
I told you during the preseason I wasn't convinced about Jordy Nelson being. I told you he was a key piece to your offensive course, but I just wasn't convinced that he was one of those top elite wide receivers. Sam Bradford actually played better, outplayed Aaron Rodgers last night. I think that's a little bit of fool's gold. I don't consider Sam Bradford in the same stratosphere as Aaron Rodgers, but clearly you guys need some more pieces. In Minnesota, their defense is serious, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Their defense is serious, and they starting cornerback wasn't even playing, so they wasn't necessarily 100% across the board. And you see the results they did. I mean, they just a physical team that's going to be. They demand respect. They didn't have your respect then. I mean, before they have respect now.
Now, yesterday out in D.C., Alfred Morris scored the go-ahead touchdown on a 4-yard run. 5 minutes left in the game. The Dallas Cowboys pulled off a 27-23 victory over the Washington Redskins. Dak Prescott gets his first career win. What's your thoughts on the game between the Cowboys and the Redskins?
Well, the Redskins came in the season and looked like they unprepared. Looked like, you know, people thought they was going to have a high-powered offense, and they have a lot of talent on offense. And it seemed that they have a disconnect with the quarterback and receivers. A lot of guys are complaining. And you have Dallas with Prescott, who's continuing what he showed in preseason. And he seemed to get better and better. Dez Bryant finally got going. You know, they probably should have won the Week 1 game against the Giants. So Cowboys could very well be 2-0 and really looking well going forward. So, you know, shout out to the Cowboys.
What was your thoughts on on Josh Norman? How he performed yesterday? Were you impressed? I mean, he didn't do nothing major, but you know, he didn't get embarrassed. I don't believe none. So, what was your thoughts?
I think he's been covering well all season. It's just unfortunate that the team refuses to let him follow top receivers because Dez had a 100-yard game, and I just think once they allow Norman to shadow top receivers, I think it's going to bring a certain nasty streak to the defense, a certain different swag.
Now, you mentioned Kirk Cousins. He was 28 for 46 for 364 yards. Is he a top 10 quarterback NFL-wise to you? Because I wasn't really happy with the fact that they got rid of RG3. I'm not an RG3 fan, but, you know, I never was really happy about the move when they made it.
It would be a struggle to put him top 15. Certainly not top 10. He just he doesn't make enough plays, in my opinion. Not enough game-winning plays. I mean, as solid, good season he had last year. I believe Redskins only went to what, like 8-8, something like that. So he's not necessarily a winner. So Cowboys, I mean, if they could just stay in the mix in the division once they pass rushers get back, I mean, they could really take a stranglehold on that division.
This is the Best of 7 Sports Talk, T7M Radio. Callers, y'all call up 347-989-8102. If you on Facebook, make sure y'all join the T7M Radio Facebook debate group. Also subscribe, if you haven't done so already, to the T7M Radio YouTube channel. Here on Blog Talk, blogtalkradio.com, T7M Radio, you can catch all the archive podcast shows we got going on here on the network. Let's go ahead and reach out to the streets, talking Dallas Cowboys, Washington Redskins. We got the Shooter in the building. Shooter, what's popping?
We 2-0, sitting at the top of the division, and Eli Manning is now in the top 10 in passing yards. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. The New York Giants, they pulled off a win. Now, last year, Drew Brees, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, J.O., he threw for, 6-7 touchdowns last year against the Giants?
Yeah, he lit us up last year. Last year, they had that defense. Let's talk about it.
And the Giants pulled off a 16-13 win over Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. Eli Manning hit Victor Cruz on a third down, like a 34, 35-yard pass at the end to set up Josh Brown winning 23-yard field goal. That was a big-time play Victor Cruz made at the end. What was your thought, Shooter, on your wide receivers overall?
I'm happy not only that we have a two-headed monster, that we got a three-headed monster, that Cruz got the knees in check. Sterling Shepard is looking nice, and Odell Beckham, just give him time. He going to be himself because he don't have to work that much this year.
Yeah, Odell is a problem. Jay, what was your impression on the New York Giants? I predicted the New York Giants could come out of the NFC and go to the Super Bowl. You know, the Saints did rally the Tide twice in the fourth quarter. But again, Drew Brees is one of the best to do it. I think the Giants, this is their year to make some noise. What was your thoughts on them pulling that one off yesterday?
I mean, I thought it was impressive, especially the week following that. Drew Brees, he threw a mile in passing yards the previous game. But, man, that secondary is locked down Cooks in the passing game, and Pierre-Paul is getting more comfortable. As Eli, you know what I'm saying, Eli can just easily turn up and be a top 3 quarterback in, certain moments during the season. So,
right.
Man, they looking kind of tough. You know what I'm saying? I'm interested to see Philly play tonight. They may give the Giants competition, but right now the Giants seem like the best team so far in that division.
Before I say anything, shout out to the Baltimore Ravens for staying determined, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you much. Joe Flacco threw 2 touchdown passes to wide receiver Mike Wallace last night as my Ravens rallied back from a 20-point deficit in the first half to beat the Cleveland Browns 25-20. Justin Tucker kicked 3 field goals. Linebacker C.J. Mosley intercepted Josh McCown. Josh McCown, I think, got hurt in this game. I think he's going to be out for like 3 weeks. My Ravens 2-0. Super impressed. J.O., you had doubt. Well, you actually picked the Ravens to win this game, but I just don't like you giving my team credit by default. They was down 20-0. Was you impressed?
Wait a minute. Let's talk about them being down 20-0, and if McCown didn't get hurt, Browns is the only way of running away with that game. So, right. Shout out to the defense for knocking him out, but I wasn't. I was impressed with the fight they had, but I don't think they impressed me at all against the Browns and struggled like that.
Shout out to the ref. Let me tell you something. Shooter, check this out, Shooter. We did predictions for week 2. I told J.O. that when it comes to my Ravens, when it comes to the teams that we supposed to beat, we always have problems with them. But when it comes to the games that we supposed to have great games, we always play up to the magnitude of the game. But teams we supposed to beat, the Ravens seem to always have problems with. But to be 20 down and to be able to, come on, man. J.O. not showing no respect to my Ravens, Shooter. What was your thoughts?
But here's my thoughts. 7, what you need to do it gets them officials from that game on T7M radio because they cheated the Browns with that penalty on Terrell Pryor. Like, we're not talking about that, how they flashed.
Oh, yeah. Man, that was crazy.
And the Browns was about to win the game.
Well, I mean, he flipped the ball. It hit my guy in the helmet. The rules say that that's a penalty. What you want him to do?
That wasn't no penalty, man.
I'm just saying, it wasn't intentional, but he probably didn't intend for the ball to slide out his hand as well. He decided to do that. I mean, that's just how the tables turn. But I will say that I was very impressed with Terrell Pryor. You know, he actually was a quarterback. Wasn't out of Ohio State, J.O.?
Yeah, he was a Heisman.
Heisman quarterback. Yeah, candidate. So, I mean, you told me at the beginning of the season to watch out for Terrell Pryor by him switching positions. We had to talk about Tim Tebow, but, you know, I was really impressed with what he did my Ravens defense. He's going to be definitely somebody to look out for. But 2-0, man, we looking good. Flacco not making the mistakes. So damn disrespectful. All right, New York Jets beat the Buffalo Bills 37-31. Also last night, yesterday the Carolina Panthers put up 46 points against the San Francisco 49ers. Marcus Mariota, J.O., you called it. What a game this was between Tennessee and Detroit. Mariota pulled off the win, comeback at the end. They won 16-15. What was your thoughts on Tennessee? Because you definitely called that.
Yeah, I knew Mariota was due for a solid game, so he pulled it off in the clutch with a couple dimes he threw. So I figured they would pull that off. And Detroit had the game, for the most part, but they resorted back to being Detroit, and that's why Calvin retired. So.
Out in Pittsburgh, Big Ben threw for 259 yards, 3 touchdowns. To offset a couple of interceptions that he had. The Steelers beat the Cincinnati Bengals 24-16. This was pretty much the revenge game from the AFC playoff game last year that Antonio Brown took that late hit and got the concussion. Andy Dalton passed for 366 yards. He had a touchdown, but the Red Rifle just didn't have enough. You picked these guys to come out of the AFC, J.O. I mean, you got to say something because this is a game that they need to win. And they couldn't pull it off.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like they struggled with the Browns or something like that. You know what I'm saying? They just played against a big-time quarterback in Big Ben, who I think most of us agree top 5. You know, they should have won it. They should have, you know, it was a big game for them, revenge game. But, I mean, it's a long season. They see them in December. And I think they'd be all right by then.
You know, maybe Coach Marvin Lewis should put you on the wide out so you can dance around on the field the way you dancing around on this question. Because see, we gonna sit here, we're gonna talk about your boy AJ Green and his production. Because I mean, for you to be so disrespectful and you picked the Cincinnati Bengals to come out of the AFC North, knowing that my Ravens got so much action going on, like. Talk to me. Like, can you explain the production of AJ Green yesterday?
I guess he wasn't chasing old man Revis. I guess that's what it was. But
wow,
I mean, if you take shout out to Revis, but I don't know. I guess if you take AJ Green away, that's it because they don't have Sanu anymore. And I believe Eifert, if I'm not mistaken, is out for a lot of weeks. And their running game hasn't been the same in a few years, so they may have to go back to just being a pound and running game and get Hill and Bernard some more carries. So the team's not going to let A.J. Green go for 10 catches, 180 like he did against the Jets.
Now, speaking of running game, D'Angelo Williams, man, he done clearly found the fountain of youth. He pulled out 94 yards on a career-high 32 carries. He had a 4-yard touchdown grab with about 6:50 left to give the Steelers actually breathing room at the time. So D'Angelo Williams is definitely stepping it up in place of Le'Veon Bell. What's your thoughts on D'Angelo?
D'Angelo is not like your typical running back that's, about 32? he's been splitting carries since he came in the league. You know, he was splitting carries with Jonathan Stewart, and before Stewart, he was splitting carries with I want to say Deshaun Foster. So it's not really. He probably may have had one season where he was just a straight up go-to guy that was getting all the carries. So his legs is pretty fresh, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's top 5 all the time in yards per carry. A lot of people don't even know that. So D'Angelo been putting on.
That's facts. This is the Best of 7 Sports Talk, T7M Radio. Callers, y'all call up 347-989-8102. We talking AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to take a call real quick. We're going to reach out to the streets, take some calls, get some opinions. Before we do so, fellas, I want to ask y'all, I'm going to start off with you, Grail. Marvin Lewis, I mean, he has not pulled off a playoff win in his career at Cincinnati. Do you think this is his last shot as a head coach in Cincinnati?
Changing of the guard. He don't do nothing this year. It's over.
I feel he should have got fired 2 years ago.
Talk that shit.
When they lost to the Houston Texans, and I think the quarterback they had was what, T.J. Yates, I think his name was, and he won on playoff game. And if you lose to anybody named T.J. Yates, you need to get fired.
Let's reach out to the streets, man. Look like New York is in the building. 347-406. You now on the Best of 7. What's poppin'?
You know, when you say you're talking some AFC North football, I appear like Candyman. I had to call in and get it in for my Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's round out this AFC North panel we got on this phone.
Oh, yeah. I need you to show some respect because, see, we 2-0 right now. I need you to show me some respect as well because y'all looking all right. But we pulled off the 20-zip come behind win against Cleveland yesterday. So show us some respect.
No. Let me tell you something. I told my homeboy up here, who's a Ravens fan, I said, yo, it's going to be a tough game for y'all. And he laughed, and I sent him the little NFL.com little blurb they did that it's going to be tough. Because the Browns always play the Ravens tough. You know, they like to get after the Ravens, and that's always a good game. So I knew it would be, but, you know, it was a very Raven-like win. You find a way to pull it out because the Ravens, from their inception, have been built like Pittsburgh. That's what they strive to do, and we tend to win those type of games over the years too. But I want to get to this Bengal game because we talked about it last week, and it was everything I said. You got a Cincinnati team; they're going to have a hard time winning those deep playoff games when crunch time comes because at the end of the day, football is about blocking, tackling, running the football, and they can't do that against Pittsburgh. They have consistently over the years never been able to impose their will. Draft Jeremy Hill, Giovanni Bernard, Whitworth, it doesn't matter. They can't run the football, which puts the hands back into their skittish quarterback, who always looks skittish against us. He just, when I watch him, I get very irritated because I need to see guys elevate their play, and he can't do it against Pittsburgh. Don't matter what our pass defense is like, don't matter who we got back there, he doesn't seem to be able to do that against us. That's a problem.
No, let me ask you this, because this could be a cup half full, half empty situation. Big Ben was 19 for 37. He had 259 for 3 touchdowns. But Antonio Brown only had, he didn't have any touchdowns, and I think he was like he had 39 yards?
39 yards, yeah.
So is that a concern for you, or do you look at it like everybody else is stepping up? Like, what do you look at that when you see that picture with Ben throwing 3 touchdowns, but Antonio gets 0?
I look at it, not a concern at all. Ben had an off day and still put up 3 touchdowns and was still able. You know what? This ties into my Andy Dalton point perfectly. Look at our quarterback. Ben was off. I'm watching this game like, he's off. He's missing some throws. Antonio had to drop, and he still dropped 3 touchdowns to some backup tight ends. Xavier Grimble, nobody knew who these guys are. Whereas when Andy Dalton is off, you might as well concede the game because he's not going to be able to elevate his play in that type of elements, in that type of bad game. Whereas Ben, he was off, and he was still able to do it.
J.O., before we move on to the next game, I'm going to ask you real quick. I'm going to give you the opportunity to change your AFC pick. You want to stick with the Bengals or come out of the AFC?
Man, so you giving me how can I say this?
I'm giving
So
you
you
a pass.
asking me? You give me an opportunity.
I'm giving you more passes than AJ Green got yesterday.
Which is none. I mean, you want to look at it like that.
Denver did pretty well. They pulled off a 34-20 victory over Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts. Also in the AFC yesterday, the Houston Texans pulled off an impressive 19-12 victory over the Kansas City Chiefs. Garoppolo, he got injured. He's going to be out for a few weeks, but New England Patriots pulled off a 31-24 win over the Miami Dolphins. They're now 2-0 in the AFC East.
Yo, when you got Belichick like behind the machine, like anything is possible. I mean, I honestly thought they was going to lose to the Arizona Cardinals week 1, and they just pulled the rabbit out their hat.
Now, check this out, J.O. Me and you going to have a talk because, yesterday in Los Angeles, the L.A. Rams in the home opener, you see LeBron James in the building.
God.
They pulled off one of the craziest, I'm not going to say upset because they play the Seahawks well every year, but they pulled off a win 9-3 against the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson was 22 for 35, no touchdowns. You put Russell Wilson as the best quarterback, J.O., in the NFL. You're going to have to break this down to me, please.
J.O., why did you do that?
I'm still sick about it. Come on. I'm not going off 2 weeks. Right now, Wilson is, his ankle is kind of is bad right now. I think give Wilson about a couple more weeks, and it's going to be like, it's going to be lights out,
Oh, we got to stop the madness.
Thank you. Unbelievable.
Ever since Sierra gave up that juice box, he ain't been playing the same no more, man. Them feet light, man.
Hey, man, Seattle right now, funny that J.O. would say that. Seattle right now has the same problem that the Bengals have. Can't impose their will physically and run the football. I mean, you look at the Rams, Jeff Fisher, he's Jeff Fisher. He's fallen off the wagon, but one thing he can do is put a D-line together. He's always ran that 4-3, and they always get after it. And so if you can't block them, the Rams will pose problems, even with their terrible offense. And the Seahawks, much like the Bengals, cannot impose their will. That's going to be a problem, particularly when you have a good quarterback, really good, but one that has relied on very strong running games. So we're going to see.
Shooter, let me ask you, Shooter, the Seattle Seahawks defense here 2016, are they overrated?
It's not that they overrated. It's when you got to carry a team year in and year out. Eventually, people have so much film on you, and they can dissect everything they need to dissect on that. So your team is going to become watered down. And then when you lose one of the best running backs to ever grace the field, and you have a quarterback who deals with a woman who's ruined careers.
Wow. Didn't expect that.
I'm just stuck on stupid. When he told me that Russell Wilson, in his opinion, is the best quarterback in the NFL, I'm like, well, what about Cam Newton? Like, you think Russell Wilson is better than Cam, J.O.?
I do.
Wow.
That's your wow.
Man.
He's so
does he not? Wait a minute. What, does he not have jury? What are we talking about?
Okay.
I mean, y'all want to talk? What are we consistent of? What does it consist of?
So has he not cost them jewelry as well? Let's
he
talk
got
about
him there, but did he not get him there though?
No, the defense.
Did you see Cam last Super
The defense won the first championship. He lost the second championship.
Wow.
We'll talk about it.
Disrespectful. Did you not see Cam in Super Bowl last year? Did he not tap out?
Yeah, they got after him. I don't think the Seahawks defense overrated. I mean, look at the first two games. They played lights out, kept their team in it. I wanted to go back real quick because I had to make this comment to the host. Speaking of overrated, underrated, let's just give a little love to the underrated Steelers secondary and the job they did on A.J. Green, which has got me really salivating for the real rivalry we got after that bye week when we go to MNT. I can't wait to get down there. I'm already salivating for that.
Y'all don't want my squad. I'm telling you.
You know we do. You know we do. I can't wait to get to MNT after that bye week. Yeah, man. I can't wait to get down there and play against Mike Wallace, Mr. One Trick Pony. I can't wait.
Welcome to Baltimore. Mike Wallace is doing this thing. Also in NFL action yesterday, the Oakland Raiders, my pick to come out of the AFC West, they pulled off, or they lost to the Atlanta Falcons 35-28. The San Diego Chargers, J.O.'s pick, they smashed the Jacksonville Jaguars 38-14. And the Arizona Cardinals put up a 40 bar against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jameis Winston struggled a little bit. Arizona pulled off a 40-7 victory. Now tonight, fellas, we got Monday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz, trying to go 2-0. They going in Chicago playing Jay Cutler. Just real quick predictions. I'm gonna go across the board.
I think when you look at the Bears, I mean, I like Langford, but overall, I just don't believe in them, and I definitely don't believe in their quarterback. You know, the Giants showed up defensively, played really good defense, but I still think overall the Eagles might have the best defense in that division. I'm going with the Eagles tonight to set up the 2-0 matchup with my Steelers next week.
I'm going with the Bears, man. I think Cutler's going to throw over 300 yards, and I expect Jeffrey and first-year man Kevin White to have a big game.